Florida stunned Houston 70-67 in a nail-biting national championship game, winning their third NCAA title with a dramatic late rally that defied expectations and showcased the power of relentless defense. For more than 30 minutes of the game, Houston's stifling defense had forced Florida into a grinding, deliberate style of play. However, after the Cougars built a 42-30 second-half lead, the Gators fought back in the final moments. The turning point came with just over 46.5 seconds remaining in the game. Houston's lead had dwindled to 67-61 when Elijah Martin drew a foul on a drive to the basket and hit 2 free throws. Cutting Dukes, Houston's opponent here is Florida, so careful, correction. Cutting Florida's deficit, lead gap to 4 points. Florida never relinquished their regained momentum. On the ensuing possession, Houston turned the ball over, and Denzel Aberdeen's free throw pushed Florida's lead to 65-63 with 19.7 seconds left. Houston then had a chance to tie or take the lead, but a remarkable defensive stand by the Gators proved decisive. As Houston attempted to set up sharpshooter Milos Uzan with a pass from L.J. Cryer from the right wing, Uzan found himself double-teamed by 2 Florida defenders while trying to break free off a screen. Frustrated, Uzan relinquished the ball back to Cryer, who quickly passed it to Emmanuel Sharp at the top of the key. However, Sharp, disrupted by a defensive hand from Walter Clayton Jr. as he pulled up for a 3, dropped the ball. The errant rebound allowed the clock to run out, sealing the victory and prompting an eruption of celebration by the Florida bench and fans. The game was a defensive battle from the start, with Houston's opponents limited to 34.8% shooting from the field and a paltry 24% shooting from three-point range. Houston's leading scorer, L.J. Cryer, finished with 19 points and 6 rebounds on a 6 of 18 shooting performance, and no other Cougar scored in double figures. In contrast, Florida, despite entering the contest with one of the NCAA's top-scoring offenses, averaging 85.3 points per game and having scored 77 or more in each of their 5 previous tournament victories, was forced into a grinding, slower-paced game against the nation's best defense. Key contributions came from multiple Florida players. Center Alex Condon, who had scored a single point in the Final Four against Auburn, stepped up with 12 points and 7 rebounds. Will Richard, emerging as a scorer as Clayton struggled early, ended the game with a team-high 18 points and 8 rebounds. The defensive pressure mounted throughout the second half, eventually forcing Houston into a series of mistakes. A combination of turnovers, missed opportunities, and clutch free throw shooting by Florida ultimately allowed them to wrest control away from the Cougars. In the final minute, every possession mattered. Florida maintained a steady tempo and executed under pressure to keep Houston at bay. Even though Houston had briefly controlled parts of the second half, with a 42-30 advantage at one point, the Cougars were unable to sustain their momentum. Instead, Florida's resilience and strategic defensive stops proved the difference, and the Gators emerged victorious. Florida's win capped off a game defined by grit and a relentless comeback against a Houston team that appeared to have it all, until a few critical miscues in the dying seconds. With the shot clock winding down and the defensive stand that effectively ended Houston's rally, Florida secured the national title in one of the most dramatic finishes in recent NCAA history.